Clear prop! And welcome, YouTube. This is a very exciting day. I'm about to get a type rating on the Yak 52, and I'm going to take you with and show you what's involved with getting a type rating and basically how you go about getting a type rating. And so, first things first, what is a type rating? Essentially, it is a sign-off from an instructor that allows you to fly different aircraft on your license. I'm a commercial airplane pilot, but I still, for every single aircraft I fly, I need to get what is called a type rating, and that's basically introducing you to the type. So that's what we're doing today, and I'm going to take you with me, and I hope you guys enjoy this video. If you do, leave a thumbs up. If you want to see more of these videos, consider subscribing, and let's get on with the video. Right guys, welcome to the Yak 52. This is a tandem aircraft, in other words you sit front and back. I'm sitting in the front, my instructor is at the back. Mr. Phil Hooker is a very accomplished and experienced flight instructor, and he's going to be teaching me all the ins and outs of the Yak 52 today. As you can see, I'm just doing my post startup checks and then we'll get going. So the Yak 52 is quite an interesting aircraft. Like all Russian aircraft, it uses pneumatics for pretty much everything, including the braking. And the braking, oh look at that, the skyline. Yes, of course we had to bring that today. Now, with most Russian aircraft, because everything's pneumatic, there's a finite amount of air you can use on the ground, so you've got to kind of be very careful with the amount of braking that you do. Otherwise you can end up running out of gas. It does charge up, but only at, higher RPM, so pretty much when you're flying. So what I'm doing here is I'm actually running the engine up and I'm checking the propeller initially, and then I'll check the mags. So what we're doing with the propeller is we're cycling the propeller. We're going from full fine to full course, and you'll hear the RPM of the engine drop. And this is pretty much a vital check for any constant speed aircraft. Once we've done that 3 times, we've pretty much checked the operation and we've allowed fluid to work its way around the whole system. Then we'll do a mag check, make sure that both mags are working and that the engine will continue to run during flight if one of them fails. Once we've done all of that, and we've checked out the engine, we've checked all the temperatures and pressures, we're then going to do our pre-takeoff checks, which I haven't put into this video only because it's kind of boring to just watch me sort of looking around the cockpit, but we have to do those before every single flight. It's very important, and on something like the Yak 52, which is an old Warbird, it really is important that everything is as it should be before we actually take off. So, time to fly. Now, for all you aviation nerds who are looking at flying the Yak 52, something to take note of, which is actually quite interesting, is it has a counterclockwise rotating propeller, which means during the takeoff roll, you're using left pedal. But other than that, have a listen to this beautiful Radial, and let's see how I do on my first takeoff. while we're on our way out to the area where we're going to do all of our upper air work, flying the aircraft around, feeling the roll rate, feeling the pitch sensitivity of the elevators and handling the throttle is all part of the type rating. So it's a good time to fly around, have a look at the scenery, and just really enjoy the aircraft for what it is before getting into the nitty-gritties and the detail of actually doing the type rating. As you can see, it's a bit of a cloudy day, but it was absolutely beautiful up there. No wind, super smooth, just a fantastic day to go flying, especially in something as special as the Yak 52. One of the most important upper air work exercises is the stall, which is what we're going to do now, and you'll see it recovers the same as a ab initio training aircraft, like a Cessna. Beautiful. There is just something so intoxicating about flying a Radial, big, old Warbird that's tandem, front and back. It gives you that military fighter feel. This was just an absolutely amazing experience, and I'm very fortunate to have flown the Yak. After a little bit of low-level river following, we had to head back to the airfield, and it's time to do one of the most important exercises, which is learning to take off and land consistently again and again, which is what we call circuits. So there you'll hear the gain, the pneumatics, the gear going down, and you can actually see on the wing the little black and white stalk. On the nose there's a little stalk there sticking out as well, which tells us that the gear is out. There's one on the other wing as well. We obviously check the lights, and you actually heard the flaps go down pretty late. That was because I actually moved the flap control sort of halfway, and then I had to move it all the way to get the flaps when we turned on to finals. So this is my first landing. Not too bad, but definitely a bit on the fast side, because as soon as we hit that little piece of tarmac that runs through the center of the runway, it bounced up and took off a little bit again. But other than that, it was nice and straight, nice and controlled. You can see I dropped the wing a little bit for the crosswind, and here we come around for another landing. This time we're going to land on the seal runway. It's just much easier to sort of get a feel for how the aircraft is going to track when you put the power on, take the power off. And let's just have a look at this. So you'll see I've got that left wing slightly down for the crosswind. I landed just next to the center line so that I have a nice visual reference. The one thing I do need to do though is hold off a bit more, because when you actually touch down on the back wheels in this aircraft, it creates quite a lot of drag, and it actually pulls the nose wheel down. So as you touch down, you actually have to pull back on the stick slightly to keep the nose wheel off. Now just a big shout out to Phil. This was such an awesome experience, and I've known him and flown with him since I got to New Zealand almost 10 years ago, and this was really cool to get up with a very good friend and instructor and go flying something as cool as the Yak 52. Now this is my third landing, which is on the sealed runway, so I'm going to just stop talking, let you guys have a listen, and just listen for that nose wheel. It touches down just a little bit too fast, and you can hear it start to vibrate just a little bit, which means I just need to hold it off a bit longer. Woohoo, flaps up and away we go. So the next clip you see will be my last landing, which I try to put it on the center line and land on the numbers. And I'm pretty happy with that. That's pretty good, and that is the Yak 52 type rating done. So now it is time to taxi off the runway, go and get some more fuel, have a debrief with my instructor, and then go for a solo flight. Any type rating is so important as a pilot, that you go and fly that aircraft by yourself and really hone your skills, and not only that, consolidate all that information that you've just learned into actual muscle memory and into your long-term memory. So let's go fly this beautiful beast on our own. Right, so we're back in the cockpit. I'm just running through my pre-startup checklist, getting the switches on as required, and now I'm priming the engine before startup. And I'm going to shut up and just let you listen to the startup of this aircraft, because the Radial engine is it's just something else. It's magnificent. It's intoxicating is what it is. So anyway, enough babbling from me. Have a listen to this startup of the M14 Radial in the Yak 52. Clear prop. Right, it is now time to fly on my own. Comment below and tell me how you think my first takeoff by myself is going to go. But here it is. 3, 2, Right, with Mount Maunganui behind us, a beautiful day to go flying, and this fantastic aircraft. I was itching to get some aerobatics in, but first, a little bit of a recap of the exercises that I did with Phil, and then into the more exciting stuff. Easing myself into it with a couple of point rolls, it was now time to roll inverted and hold it there and find out where the horizon is in this aircraft when upside down. So here we go. Now, of course, aerobatics is not complete without some vertical component maneuvers, but before we do that, we have to do what I deem the pilot maker, which is the slow roll. But rather than do it normally, we are going to do the slow roll with the 360 camera, which I think looks pretty cool. Here it is. Let me know in the comments what you think about the 360 cam footage, and stand by. And just like that, my first solo flight in the Yak 52 is complete. And overall, it was an amazing day. I love flying this aircraft. If you guys are enjoying this footage, please consider subscribing and liking the video. It really helps my channel a lot. And until the next time, onwards and upwards.